Welcome, everyone. Thanks so much for being here. Excited to walk through this session from static journeys to dynamic decisioning, why Crunchbase chose Piper, the AI SDR agent. With me today is Maggie Foster from Crunchbase. Welcome, Maggie. Would love to welcome you up. Can you start just by telling us a little bit about yourself and Crunchbase?
Hi, yeah, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Very excited to be here. So I am our growth marketing manager at Crunchbase. I have been at Crunchbase for about 3 years now. Crunchbase is we are a predictive intelligence solution, so we're focused on private market movements. And we sort of predict that by a unique combination of private company data, AI, market activity. We have about 80 million users. We're using that data to power our predictive intelligence. So we are helping investors, deal makers, researchers be the first to find and act on opportunities. So yeah, super excited to be here. We're big fans of Qualified.
Love that. Yeah, everyone loves Crunchbase.
Heck,
You
love
know,
to hear that.
Awesome. Well, so excited to chat with you about your journey with Piper. So Crunchbase hired Piper onto your team last summer. Can you just take us back to that time? Like, what were some of the challenges that Crunchbase was facing that made an AI SDR agent appealing to you guys?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So Crunchbase really has primarily been focused on our inbound marketing efforts. So obviously a chatbot on our website is a huge part of that. So we were using a chat solution on our website, but it was really manual. So we were having to really build out all of the flows that we had, sort of had to think about everything about how is somebody coming into the website and then what are they looking for based on the questions they're asking, sending them down different flows. And we were having to build out all those flows. And so we were kind of running into a couple different issues. I would say one of the big issues was definitely kind of a data hygiene issue. We're having a lot of routing issues. The way that our sales team is structured, we have some pretty strict rules on who leads are routed to, who chats and meetings go to. And we were just running into a lot of different issues with that on the data side of things. So first and foremost, it was really just the fact that Qualified is built natively on Salesforce. That was super appealing to us. So that was kind of what brought us in the beginning. And then we were also running into like some bandwidth and capacity issues, both on the marketing and the sales side. From the marketing side of things, like I said, we were just having to build out these really manual experiences and these manual flows. It was taking a lot of time and effort to really think about any way that a lead could come in and the experience that they were going to have. So we knew that like an AI driven chatbot like Piper would really streamline that process for us and make that a lot easier instead of having to manually build all these out. And then on the sales side of things, like I said, we were again running into kind of a bandwidth issue. We have a pretty small SDR team. And so obviously chat is really time consuming for an SDR, having to be on a live chat, answering tons of questions. There's often unqualified leads coming in, people who are just doing research, people who are just kind of like poking around the website that aren't really interested in booking a meeting or aren't really like down the funnel in that sense. And so our SDRs were spending a lot of time on those manual chats. And we were even having to like block out times where different SDRs had different time periods that they were going to be available for live chat. And obviously that kind of like takes away from time that could be spent in other places. So that was really kind of what brought us to Qualify. These were like the issues that we were facing, and we knew that having like this AI agent was going to solve a lot of that for us. And we were really looking for something that was like set it and forget it, like that it could just run as if it was a real SDR. It knew our value props, it knew our messaging, and we could kind of like trust it to run on its own as opposed to having to do all this manual work on the marketing side and on the sales side. So yeah, that was kind of like the place we were in that brought us to Qualified. And then definitely was super appealing with Piper and all of these AI capabilities.
I love that. I mean, it's so relevant to everything marketers are talking about today and this like, explosion of AI agents where we're moving from the traditional ways that we approached inbound with like rules-based journeys with humans responsible for the follow-up or humans on the marketing team responsible for building out all of these, journeys and pieces of content. And it's just a lot of work and leads slipping through the cracks, and moving to this agentic workflow is such a better way to approach that. So it's so awesome that we got to bring you on that journey essentially. Can you talk about rolling out Piper and how she's helped scale inbound for Crunchbase?
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of funny because I look at it as like we onboarded Piper as if we were onboarding a real SDR that we hired. We kind of like uploaded into Piper all of our messaging docs, all of our pieces of content. We guided her in sort of like the important aspects of the business that we wanted to make sure she highlighted on our sales processes, all of that. So we essentially onboarded her as if she was a real SDR. And taught her kind of like what does a qualified lead look like for us? What does an unqualified lead look like so that, she could learn all of that. And then we basically went in there and tested her out. We were in there asking her a bunch of different questions, chatting as if we were somebody who was super top of funnel, as if we were somebody who was bottom of the funnel. And so we just like tested it out a lot until we felt super confident in setting her live on all aspects of the website. And that's kind of where she lives now. She's on every single one of our web pages. We have a lot of confidence that she can answer questions exactly the way that an SDR would answer them because we onboarded her like she was an SDR. And then from there, because we saw so much success with using Piper as our like AI SDR in the chatbot, we've also recently in the last couple of months implemented a lot of her email capabilities, which has been a total game changer for us. So we just felt like because we had seen such great results that we had that confidence of like, okay, if we know that she can chat well, then let's sort of like implement her through email. And it really just kind of allows for a seamless transition of like from when somebody comes into the website and they're chatting with Piper, then you're also getting the same messaging from her through email. And so it just sort of allows for our confidence in the fact that like our messaging is the same throughout the entire process. And with the email, we have her sort of working twofold. One is kind of, when people chat in and they give us their information, but maybe at that point they weren't ready to book a meeting or for whatever reason they didn't book a meeting with the SDR. We have Piper through email reaching out and saying, hey, do you actually want to book a meeting with us, and qualifying people through email in that sense. So people who have dropped off the chat, she's now encouraging them to book meetings, and we've already seen a lot of meetings come from that. And then in the same way, also with people who maybe did chat in and did book a meeting, she's also able to reach out through email and just like gather other information that we require our reps to gather before they have a meeting with somebody. So she's able to just kind of like reach out through email as if she's a real rep, get information for the SDR who the meeting is booked with. So by the time the SDR is having the meeting, they have total confidence that Piper has qualified this person through the chatbot, and then also that they have reached out beforehand to get all the information that the SDR needs in order to have that meeting. So it's kind of just like this full funnel process. And within that, I would also just say that she's also helped kind of weed out the unqualified as well. She's great at booking meetings. She's great at booking qualified leads and MQLs for our team. But she's also great at, just answering questions that people have. We have a lot of people that come to the website that are just doing initial research or are just looking for more information. And so she's able to have those conversations that previously our SDRs were having to have, that was kind of using up a lot of their time. So now they feel super confident that when they have a meeting booked by Piper on their calendar, that is a really qualified lead.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I mean, the fact that you now have this unified agent across email and the website is so massive. And that, of course, frees up time that SDRs, I'm sure, were getting bogged down in, where they don't have the capacity that an AI agent does, but she's been able to do it all at scale, and also, filter out all of that noise that maybe was potentially slipping through as well and wasting their time. And scaling that up to the team is just massive. So let's talk about results, because you touched on this a bit. But since you've rolled out Piper across different channels, what are some of the trends that you've started to notice on the team?
Yeah, absolutely. We have definitely seen some pretty tangible results, which has been super exciting. And I think that's also why we have so much confidence in Piper and her abilities. It's why we were able to roll out the email capabilities, because we saw such success with the chat capabilities. So I actually pulled a stat recently that since we implemented Piper, 67,000 chats have come through our website. So if you think about that, with our small SDR team, there's just absolutely no way that a small SDR team could have had 67,000 chats. And so that's just amazing that she's been able to do that. So it's not only, like I said, turned those meetings or turn those chats into meetings and leads, but it's also been able to take time or give time back to the SDRs that might have been spent on all those thousands and thousands of chats. And because of that, we've actually seen that Piper is actually better at booking meetings than a human is, which is really cool to see. So we've actually seen that the number of real chats that our reps are having has gone significantly down, giving them that time back in their day. But the number of meetings and MQLs that we've gotten has gone up. So we've seen recently that the number of meetings that we've had since implementing Piper has been 3x what we had before we had Piper there. So she's better at booking these meetings. And then we've also seen that the number of MQLs and qualified leads that have come through has doubled. So it's been really, really cool to see that. You know, a lot of people have skepticism around AI, and we have like some real tangible results that she's actually better than a human at booking meetings, which is just very cool to see. And our team is super excited about it. And they just feel really good about those meetings that are put on their calendar without them having to be in the chat booking the meeting themselves.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a cool story where you shifted again from having humans doing this and getting, you know, a decent output. But now with Piper, she's helping just scale all of this and you're getting more meetings, more quality pipeline. It's a perfect use case. So I just want to finish up because it was so cool getting to know you and just learning how much of an AI advocate you are. Can you just share your guidance for some folks in the audience today on where to start and just why getting an agent like Piper for inbound is that good place to begin on their AI journey?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you said, I'm a huge AI fan. I have lots of chat GBTs going. I'm using AI all the time. So for me, I was super excited about implementing Piper as like our AI SDR, but I do know there's a lot of skepticism out there. Like I said, like people often can think like, oh, as a human, I would be better at qualifying people, better at booking meetings. And really like our results show that that's not true. So I think that, you know, that's sort of the starting point of like, hey, we have real results for why this works. But I also think just like, you know, there's skepticism of like people really want to hold on to, I want to be able to control the narrative. I want to be able to control what is being said in emails, what's being spit out in content. And so I would just say, especially like with using Piper, we're really able to test it. We're able to see exactly what her responses would be. And so I think that has given our team a lot of confidence in being able to implement the AI. And so I just think it's true that AI can actually do it better. But at the same time, it can do it better because there are people behind it guiding it. You know, we've put a lot of time and effort into making sure that Piper had our correct messaging, making sure that we had really trained her in the way that we would train an SDR. So I think if you're able to really put in that time and effort beforehand in training your AI agent, then that allows you to just sort of like set her free and kind of like let her run with it as if she was a real SDR that you had hired. So I think like my advice for people who are maybe a little skeptic or haven't used a lot of AI is like start small. I think using Piper is like a great example of being able to do that. You know, you can start with your top of funnel leads. You can start small. And then as you see these results, as you see how like successful it is, and as your sales team sees how successful it is, then you're able to kind of, you know, put it all throughout the website and then implement the email as well. And you can kind of make it this full funnel experience. So yeah, I think for people who are maybe a little hesitant, that would be like my biggest advice is just play around with it, get used to AI, like recognize that, you know, you do have some control over what's happening. And then, yeah, just like start small. And I think once you get to see those results, it gives you the confidence to be able to say, you know, this is doing a great job, if not a better job than we ever could have hoped.
Yeah, it's awesome. Marketers love our repeatable playbooks, but this is a new approach and it's super exciting to see how you and some of our other customers are obviously seeing such amazing results with this new way of approaching inbound. So, Maggie, thank you so much for taking the time just to chat with us, share your story. It's been so great and we really appreciate it. So, thank you.